everything.
Was it up before?
No. Oh, duh. You ready back? We on?
Click the button when we start.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, welcome to the Township meeting of January 7th, 2025. Do you want to do the prayer or
We
what?
just do just the pledge for
To start, I'd like you to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, let's see, Lorraine is absent, Krug is present, Tucker,
Present.
Clark,
Present.
Gopel is absent, Kessler is absent. I wished I was with him, he's on a cruise. Reed?
Here.
Thanks. I would like to note that we also have our attorney Jack Belzer, our operation manager Tom Broker, zoning administrator Mike Deem, Julia Wilson, our assessor, and there is also Melissa Lawrence, our engineering group is on Zoom, so I want to do the recording. Oh, and there's a fire chief back there.
All right, to the members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised, this meeting is being recorded to be shown on Public Access TV, Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed. For tonight's meeting, there are two public hearings, one for community development block grant projects and one for the Miller Industries PUD rezoning. Public comment will be accepted during each hearing. All other public comment will be taken near the end of the meeting. Meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website at fentontownship.org.
In the absence of our supervisor, Mr. Lorraine, we need to appoint a temporary chairperson.
Motion for Krug.
Support.
Roll call, Tom?
Lorraine is absent. Reed?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Krug?
Yes.
Kessler is absent. Gopel's absent. Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on, we need to find out if there are any requests to amend tonight's agenda. Hearing none, need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, Tom?
Krug?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Kessler is absent. Reed?
Yes.
Gopel is absent. Tucker?
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next are meeting minutes. Including your packet are the meeting minutes of the December 17th meeting. Are there any corrections or requests for revisions on these minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Next are expenditures. Are there any questions regarding the expenditures? Okay, I need a motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $612,075.17.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, Tom?
Reed?
Yes.
Gopel is absent. Tucker?
Yes.
Kessler is absent. Lorraine is absent. Krug?
Yes.
Clark? Yes. Motion carries. Expenditures approved.
Okay, what we move to now are public hearings. We have two tonight. The first one being the Community Development Block Grant Program. Community needs public input and hearing application submission approval for the 2025, 2027 projects. We'll first accept input for the public. Is there anyone here that would like to? Okay, go ahead.
All right, so as we talked about at the last meeting, when the new maps came out from HUD, Fenton Township no longer had a low moderate income designated area, and therefore the project we had previously submitted was no longer eligible. So we, on a very short window, we had to have a public needs hearing and approve applications and submit applications by January 15th. So the plan tonight is to have the public hearing and also approve projects for submission, for application submissions, and then we'll get those done within the next week. So based on discussions we had with Genesee County staff, we've identified 4 potential projects, some barrier-free improvements at the Pioneer Memorial Museum property, barrier-free improvements at the Thompson Road Regional Dog Park. In each case, we're talking about handicap parking spaces and paved or concrete walkways to improve accessibility. Also, an Audio Eye website tool through Civic Plus, our website provider. It's hard to explain the whole thing, but it makes things more accessible for people, and the county has preliminarily said it probably meets the eligibility requirements, so we've added that to the list. And also, capital improvements for the Low C Senior Center are also on the table. So, and then any potential projects brought up during the hearing can also be considered for application.
Is there anyone present that would like to address the board concerning the block grants? None? Anybody on Zoom that would like to? I guess Brandy doesn't want to. So I need a motion to approve the application submission for the following community development block grant projects: barrier-free improvements, Pioneer Memorial Museum property, barrier-free improvements, Thompson Road Regional Dog Park, Civic Plus Audio Eye website tool, and capital improvements for Low C Senior Center.
So moved.
I'll support.
Roll call, Tom.
Clark?
Yes.
Kessler is absent. Krug?
Yes.
Gopel is absent. Tucker?
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Reed?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving to the next public hearing is the request for rezoning of parcels for Miller Industries. Mike? Thank you.
All right. If you look on the screens, I think they got them in both directions here. The red highlighted parcels are the ones we're talking about. So there is a parcel off of Thompson Road between McDonald's and the glass industrial facility there. A parcel with access to Torrey Road, and then a parcel along US 23 with access to Ray Road that are part of the request for rezoning tonight. As John will tell you, right, first thing we look at is the master plan. This area, since 2008, with the original Thompson Road corridor plan, right, has been identified for commercial use. The Torrey Road parcel and the Thompson Road parcel are still designated for commercial use as the highway commercial designation in the current master plan. During the most recent Thompson Road corridor update and the master plan update, we had a lot of discussion, or the Planning Commission had a lot of discussion on the Ray Road parcel. They identified that the parcel is along US 23, right, and that there is benefit to having commercial use. However, there was always concern about having direct access out into Ray Road. So based on that discussion, when the Thompson Road corridor plan was updated, the future land use classification for that parcel was also changed to low density residential, matching the rest on Ray Road. Part of that discussion was, though, that the Planning Commission held, was that if it were part of additional parcels, including this Torrey Road one, maintaining the original future land use classification of commercial for it may not have been inappropriate, but at the time of the updated master plan, right, there was no plans to combine those parcels, and the character of Ray Road, right, does not lend itself to having direct access for commercial use. The rezoning request that you have, right, would include industrial use matching the existing industrial on Thompson Road on the Torrey Road piece, potentials for hotels or restaurants or other commercial uses along 23. And then for the Ray Road parcel, it would have emergency access out to Ray Road and additional infrastructure to support the other two parcels. Planning Commission reviewed the request and found that was consistent with the master plan because it was not being utilized for commercial use. I will say that with the development that is going on north of 23, with the county currently doing a corridor study for US 23, we may need to do our own corridor study for US 23 at the end of this year, at the beginning of next year. One of our goals for planning is to sort of stay ahead of the development. We did with the Thompson Road corridor plan, right? When water was coming, we wanted to get ahead of development. It's looking like we might need to do that for US 23 also. When the county is done with their study, we'll evaluate where we are at that time. But having said that, we may be looking at this Ray Road parcel in the future. So you have a PUD ordinance, right? And so that describes the allowed uses for these parcels, right? For the Torrey Road and the Thompson Road parcel, right? They'd be allowed industrial or commercial uses, which again is consistent with the master plan, consistent with the development of the area, and consistent with the infrastructure and utilities available in the area. The Ray Road parcel will be limited to R3 parcels, the R3 single-family residential uses and infrastructure. So an emergency access out on the Ray Road, turn around onto that parcel. If at such time the township reviews the master plan and identifies that area as something that changes, they always have the ability to come in and seek a rezoning and go through this process again. But the Planning Commission has reviewed the request. They have made a recommendation to approve the rezoning. I am here to answer any questions you guys have. The applicant is also here to answer any questions you guys have.
So I just want to
Mr.
be
Tucker,
clear.
oh.
So the parcel that abuts to Ray Road
Yes,
would not be commercial and industrial?
correct.
You're saying it will stay residential?
That's what this request would include.
Okay. And so it would be single-family residential, or could it be, say, an apartment complex?
No, it would be R3 or less.
Okay.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
But you're indicating that on Ray Road will be an outlet? Is there gonna be like an emergency outlet?
Potentially, right? That's a site plan issue, right? It could be. It's not planned at this time, but when we're looking at the future development of those parcels, there may be a advantage to having an emergency access out there.
Mr. Tucker, any input, please?
I don't have anything intelligent to say beyond what Mike has said. I was not able to attend that meeting due to a death in the family, so I don't have anything beyond the comments. Obviously, the mantra that I give you is exactly what Mike said. You know, is it consistent with the master plan? And with respect to the southerly two parcels, it is. With respect to the northerly parcel, it is not. However, the proposal is to limit the use to matters that would be consistent with the master plan, and infrastructure like roads for access ways and all that wouldn't be inconsistent with its master plan classification. So I agree with Mike, we'll probably take a look at that, but right now Ray Road is not, it's not what you want for commercial activity. Now, Chief will probably be the one that will dictate what is used on that parcel, because he may say, I want a truck to be able to come in from that direction so I can do a loop. You know, those, again, we'll run into that when we get to site plan issues. But I think what the Planning Commission has done is consistent with the master plan in the sense that this parcel that isn't compliant with the request at this point in time, the uses are limited to those uses that would be compliant. So I can live with that restriction. I can see how that parcel might be useful for future expansion, and as Mike said, there's a lot going on north of us, and it's not only this one that I've heard chatter about things happening because of that. So we will attempt and endeavor to stay in front of the ball again and see what's going on, and perhaps do a study to that effect. But yeah, I think Mike summarized it. I think the Plan Commission has done what we hoped that they would do, is evaluate this and give us some good guidance.
Because I couldn't understand why Miller wanted those two parcels. And I never thought of an emergency exit or something like that.
Yeah, and at some point, you know, it's a large parcel, right? So, you know, the 2008 Thompson Road Corridor Plan had the back 75% of that parcel as commercial, right? And then again, right, when we went through the process again, Planning Commission was concerned about utilizing Ray Road, you know, as a commercial road, which anyone who drives it knows it's not. And so that was what drove that discussion to change that classification for that parcel. I think that had those parcels been joined at the time when we were reviewing the master plan and Thompson Road Corridor Plan, there would have been a different, you know, determination. But, you know, we used the information we have at our time. And
I'll say this, at that time, the owner of some of those parcels there, I don't know if this particular one or not, come in and wanted to be included in the commercial designation on Ray Road. And we were the ones that said, yeah, I understand, you know, we get it, you own the piece, you want it to be commercial, we get it, but Ray Road isn't where it needs to be. And that, you know, we told them at the time that could change down the road, you know, depending on the magnitude of the development. And if the development's big enough, you know, they sometimes will spend the money to make the road suitable for that purpose. So, you know, but that's pure speculation. But it was actually requested by at least some of the owners along Ray Road when we were doing this.
I mean, when they start this project, Thompson Road's gonna be clustered, you know, I mean, I would assume it's gonna be pretty busy. I mean, are they gonna allow the trucks and stuff to access through down Ray Road? You know, it's gonna, not at all.
no, it would be, access would be from Torrey and or from Thompson
Thompson, yeah.
for trucks. Then there would be a potential for for just normal traffic off of Torrey Road.
Yeah.
And again, right, that came up during the public hearing that we had with the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission has concerns about truck traffic on Torrey Road, but the nature of their business would be utilizing the Thompson Road. And the other thing that's a site plan issue is we're looking at creating a boulevard that would have access for McDonald's and the other industrial. So we would reduce the number of curb cuts, get that opening for McDonald's, which it's not the best, right? And be able to improve the access management there.
Because it'll get congested.
Yep.
You know, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Stick around, I think you're gonna have a lot of questions, Mike. Is there,
The
I'm
zoning
sorry.
administrator. Mike Dean, he's the zoning administrator.
is there any, as I look at you folks, pardon me, will now be open to public comment. Is there anyone that would like to address the board?
I usually don't public speak. I hate to public speak.
You're doing a great
So
job.
forgive me.
No, we're easy, so.
Thank goodness. My family bought on Ray Road 75 years ago. My other family, my great-grandma and grandpa lived on Baldwin Road. We sold land for 23 to come through. My grandma did, and my great-grandparents at Baldwin. We're on our 5th and 6th generations there. I figure my mom has been there 53 years. In her 53 years, she's paid the township over $200,000 alone in taxes. That means both my aunt and uncles with 10 acres have, and my grandma with double that has paid 400,000. I figure my family alone has paid Township over $1 million in 75 years. We have been productive community members. We have been factory workers, truck drivers, hospital workers. My grandma delivered mail to all of your homes for the 35 years. My grandfather that bought the farm with my grandma, he served in World War II. He worked on the medic ships. He saw the people, the young boys, blown to bits that they brought. And it was his job to try to keep them alive and patch them up to make it. And he come back and he couldn't handle what he saw. He died of cirrhosis. He tried to escape all of that. My grandma, a single mother of 4, raised those kids and worked to save that farm. She gave all of her children 10 acres so that we could all be together as a family and grow up, aunts, uncles, cousins. It was a blessing and a curse. As a kid, you didn't get away with shit. Someone always saw you and reported you, trust me. But, you know, as an adult, I've come to appreciate the bond and the little piece of heaven that our family has carved out there. We have a farmer who's farmed that land for almost 50 years. That's why it's agricultural. We are agricultural. We are agricultural. The wildlife, what about them? What about the little farmer Homer who relies on that income from those 28 acres that he farms every year religiously? He depends on that money. We're going to choke him out so that big business can get bigger and make more money? That's the problem with America. I just hope you guys take into deep consideration how you would like it in your neighborhood. You want a hotel next to your house? A factory? We don't want it in ours either. It's farmland. We like our deer and our coyotes too. They keep the rats and the mice and the possum down. I just hope you take into consideration the family that's worked and paid for 75 years in that area.
Will you do me a favor before you go? 2 favors, actually. I'm the treasurer. Tell your family thank you for the taxes. I appreciate that. If you would go back to that map back there and show me where you are at, the pieces that you're talking about, because I don't think you told me your address or where, and I'm not sure where you live.
I'm not there anymore. My
Well,
mom is.
tell me the parcels you're talking about.
Well, we were 5 out of 6 of the land that used to be houses that were there for the longest time, most of my life. Now we're 3 parcels there.
Okay. I think I
There's
said,
8 houses on that whole section of the road.
Is it the
We're still 3.
the 3 in green along Ray Road, is that where you're at?
I don't know, right here's Ray Road?
Yeah, that's Ray Road, yeah. Yeah,
So this is my mom's, yes.
yeah,
My mom's farm owns right up here,
okay.
which the farmer isn't gonna wanna farm anymore because it's only 9 acres.
Is he farming it right now?
It's been farmed, he's farmed this land for 50 years.
Yeah. But he doesn't,
It has been farmed every year for 50 years.
he doesn't own it though? He's just renting it?
He doesn't own it, he farms it for our family.
Okay,
Well, Hoover now.
yeah,
He's farming for Hoover.
yeah, okay, that's what I'm trying to understand.
All of this he's farmed, my
Ri-
mom's.
Right. And you have the 2 parcels to the right of that as well, or just that one?
My aunt and uncle on one side and my cousins on the other. We're 3 parcels.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah, we're 3 parcels in a row. My
Okay.
mom couldn't make it. She's 86. I moved back to take care of her almost 3 years ago when my stepfather died. She can't hardly walk. She couldn't make it to the meeting.
She gets a free pass at 86, don't worry about it.
Well, she wanted to sit in her recliner and watch the deer in her front yard walk by and watch no traffic and just watch the corn blow in the wind until she died. That's why I moved back and sacrificed my life and my home to take care of her there, to try to give her her last years of peace and quiet on the farm.
Thank you.
You did very well, ma'am.
Thank you. Well,
And-
my heart's involved, and my family. You know, when you're speaking from your heart and from your family, I just hope you don't have railroad changed.
And if those deer ever become a problem, call me, I can take care of a couple, and I know a fire chief that can help me.
We have hunters, they're not safe around hunting season. The rest of the time, they can roam the street they want. And one more thing that's lost.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll just read it and then you can look it over, because I'll go through it as quick as I possibly can. It was recently come to my, I'm Jason Lonsberry. I live at 3215 Ray Road. Now actually, just this one little acre that widowed out right there.
Okay.
You have a pole barn on your property?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah.
It's 24 by 36. It has recently come to my attention that properties in my area may have been or are in the process of being sold to Miller Industries. The properties in question surround my land, and I am concerned about several things related to any sale or conversion of zoning to those related properties. My property is only a 1 acre parcel, with my personal home being located on it. The other properties are at least 10 acres, also with homes and apartments. My concerns are around the effect that the sale of those properties may have on my much smaller parcel of land. Impact the property value. Potential decrease in property value due to the proximity of a warehouse development to my single acre residential parcel. Challenges of selling a home surrounded by industrial or commercial developments diminish the appeal to prospective buyers. Could the Township Board conduct or require an independent property value impact study before approving the development? Zoning and land use. What are the current zoning regulations for the area, and does a warehouse align with the intended land use in the township's master plan? What type of community does Fenton Township wish to see with the Ray Torrey Thompson Road area? Is residential character and property use still compatible with the master plan? Would the board consider zoning adjustments, buffers, or restrictions to protect residential properties? Environmental and quality of life concerns. Has there been any consideration regarding noise pollution, increased traffic, especially truck traffic, and potential light pollution from the warehouse operations? Has there been any discussion or studies regarding air and soil quality impacts that could arise from industrial activities? Would it be possible to implement environmental mitigation strategies before any approvals or change of zoning land use? Buffers and transitional zones. Would it be possible, or are any buffer zones planned between the residential properties and any future developments, including but not limited to green spaces, berms, or landscaping to preserve a residential feel? Are there any mandatory setbacks or screening requirements to reduce the visual and environmental impact of the development on neighboring properties? Infrastructure and traffic. Ray Road is a low-traffic dirt road. How would increased development in the area impact traffic and safety? Of large concern would be the increase in heavy truck traffic. Have any traffic impact studies been done? Have any suggestions or plans been approved for improvements to infrastructure to accommodate increased usage without burdening nearby residents? Community engagement and alternatives. Can the developer engage with local residents for feedback on any project? And is there any room for opportunities for compromise? While water has recently been installed on Thompson Road, Ray Road is still well-based. Are there plans to run water to any of the homes? How would the building or more industrial or warehouse operations affect the groundwater supply for current residents that don't have access to the newly installed water lines? Compensation or buyout options. Has the developer proposed or considered offering a fair buyout of smaller properties directly affected by any commercial development? If so, how would we get in contact with them? Is this something that the township could facilitate? Potential tax implications. Will any changes or developments lead to changes to property tax assessments for nearby residents, particularly in the area is rezoned or if residential appeal decreases? While we are not opposed to increased development in the area, we would like it to occur in a way that benefits existing homeowners, some of whom have lived in their current location for over 50 years. Thank you very much, Jason Lonsberry.
Thank you, Jason. Any comments or questions? Anyone else like to address the board, please?
Hi, Ryan Lonsberry. My father currently lives on the road, and then my brother does as well. So I'm just kind of here to help give some support, but I was at my brother's house the other day, and we did have noticed an increase in traffic. I don't know if they're kind of looky-loos, just kind of trying to see what the situation is going on. But we're already starting to see an increase of people pulling down the road. And living on Ray Road for a long time, a lot of people try to use that as a cut-through. They think it goes somehow over the highway. They get to the dead end, they have to turn around. And I'm guilty of this myself. Hey, I know a shortcut. Let's take the back way. I imagine a lot of people will be saying that about, oh, avoid Thompson Road. It's a mess now. Just cut down Ray. Use that back entrance. I could see that as it's a big issue going forward. So I just wanted to put that in the mind of the Township Board and see if there's ways to mitigate that, because I think that would end up becoming a heavily trafficked road, probably more than we're expecting right now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board?
I was here last time. And I'm who they were talking about, their dad, Dave Lonsberry. Now, I've lived there since '66. But I got to tell you, a lot of you guys don't realize when the township wanted to make that area called the Big Block. Are you familiar with that? I got a really nice notebook that I come over here to the township hall and they gave me with all the plans. And back in my woods was going to be the anchor store for the retail, and that they wanted to move the sheriff department, you know, rather than come from here. You know, they'd have easy access to the highway. And they offered me $500,000 at the time for my 10 acres. And the guy said, don't paint your house, don't do anything. So I'm still honoring that.
Good for you.
Because now I'm 82 and I don't care about what it looks like anymore, if you want to know the truth.
It looks good in your eyes, right?
But anyway, I know that would probably be ripe for something, but I don't know if he needs another. I know he wants to build a sister building to the one he has, and he said he just wants to use it for storage. I mean, how much storage do they need? I'm kind of curious about that. And as far as hooking up to you know, I've ruined so many cars on that road. We finally got a pretty decent road after 60 years. But I've seen people coming from the other way on Ray Road with broken tie rods up there because the holes were just about as deep as that thing you're sitting behind. And, you know, you're just gonna have to work on the plan, I think. I'm done.
It's agriculture. If they wanna make changes, we haven't had wheat in a few years. Plant wheat.
Ryan said he would come over and paint your house for you, by the way.
On my spare time.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is David Misko. I'm with Van Esley Real Estate. I have two of the three properties listed for sale. The one on Torrey Road and also the one on Ray Road. Okay, we've been trying to get a development going there for, gosh, since 2015. Okay. First of all, one other thing, and I believe it was addressed, Ray Road would only be used for emergencies. Okay, it's not going to be the traffic on Ray Road. It's going to be primarily on Thompson Road and some on Torrey Road. Okay, Miller Industries currently has approximately 300 employees. When there was nothing there until they built, I think it was in 2016. So already they increased 300 jobs for your community. Also too, the Millers, they try to hire locally. They hire college graduates locally here. When they do this expansion, they will be adding on probably at least 200 more jobs, okay? There's gonna be more people coming in, not on Ray Road, okay, but they'll be coming into your community. Also too, with the buildings that they're putting up, you're probably talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional taxes that the township will receive. Plus the money that it'll bring in for the jobs. People come in here to work, they're gonna be spending money in your community as well. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to address the board? Okay. Hearing none, the second reading and vote on adoption for the proposed rezoning ordinance will be conducted on January 21st at our meeting on the 21st. So, all set? Okay, we'll move right along. Reports, are there any committee reports to be made to the board tonight? There are no communications, adoption of ordinances, unfinished business. The next item is new business, cleaning and janitorial services. Mr. Broker, please.
Yes, there's a memo outlining this in the packet, but we did issue an RFP in November. Our current cleaning contract is up at the end of this month. So we did an RFP in November. When the deadline arrived in late December, we had 5 proposals submitted. One was rejected because they provided estimates and did not use the form as required. So there's an analysis, a quick analysis of the 4 valid proposals included in the packet, which confirms Manser's Cleaning Service is the low bidder. They're a local company. They've been in business for decades. They actually, I think, took care of our building back in the day for a few years.
Yep.
So they were the lowest. If you compare it to the current, it is quite a bit higher. I think we hit a low spot 4 years ago. It was coming out of COVID. A company kind of lowballed it, and you've heard the phrase, you get what you pay for. I think we can do better than what we've had. So my recommendation is to, there's a proposed agreement in here as well, which is the standard format we've been using. And my recommendation would be to approve that contract with Mansers Cleaning Service.
Tom, did the current contractor bid?
They did that.
And was that expected and known, or?
They actually, due to the number of complaints, they actually offered to back out of the contract at one point,
Okay.
and we didn't do that.
Oh, I wasn't aware that there were issues, but it looks like everybody else was aware of that.
Well, in general, it was okay, it's just a lot of little things piled up, and
I can relate, we've got the same issue at my office,
Yeah.
so
yeah,
what you said, sadly, there's truth to it.
yeah. And-
Yeah, you gotta put an asterisk by it. You never get more than what you pay for.
Yeah.
You can get less.
Yeah. So, and again, with Mansers being a company that's been in business a long time and a local company, I have a high level of confidence that they'll do a good job for us.
We got room in the budget for that, 'cause that's a pretty big hit.
Well, you can make that work.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else, comments or questions? If not, I need a motion is in order to approve the cleaning janitorial service agreement with Mansers Cleaning Services as presented.
So move.
Support?
Roll call, Tom?
Get to the right page. Gobel is absent. Tucker.
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Clark.
Yes.
Krug.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Kessler is absent. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next is Resolution 2025-01. Each year, the township adopts a revised property tax hardship policy for the Board of Review to use reviewing hardships, exemption applications. And what I would do is, Julia, would you explain some of that to us, please?
I think you all, except for Bill, we had a little chat earlier because he wasn't aware of it. But it's a hardship policy that's set by the State of Michigan State Tax Commission that we have to abide by and offer for low-income poverty. And we call it hardship because we don't like using poverty exemption. But the guidelines are set by the State of Michigan. Each year we have to come back to you all to approve the new guidelines with the new years and what can use and review the asset test level, which we have to have in there for a 25, 50, 75, or 100% reduction. So it's kind of the same old thing. We just move some stuff around and change some things. Due to COVID a few years ago, there was a sunset where if you didn't have any additional income, if you were on a set income, then it would surpass for up to 3 years. That sunsetted in 2023, so next year will be our last year from the people from 2023. But for 24 and 25, it's back to an annual filing. Any questions?
Okay.
Okay.
Any comments or questions from anyone? Okay, we'll go to Resolution 25-01. Mr. Broker, please.
So the resolution pursuant to Public Act 390 of 1994, the Township Board adopts the financial hardship / poverty exemption official policy 2025 as guidelines for the assessor and Board of Review to follow in granting or denying property tax hardship exemptions.
I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kessler is absent. Krug.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Clark.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Gopel is absent. Motion carries. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. The next is proposed 2025 summer property tax collection agreement with Fenton, Linden, and Genesee Intermediate School Districts. Mr. Broker, or Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Bob. As is my custom, every time this comes up, actually Tom gives me a heads up before it comes up, so I know it's coming before it gets here. But he already knows I'm gonna ask him, and he already answers it before I ask it. So, question I always ask, are we covering our costs with respect to the dollars involved here? And we have not changed the rates in a terribly long time, but the rate that we are getting very comfortably covers our costs and expenses with respect to that. So with that factoid in my pocket and the maxim that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered, I'm recommending that we just keep the numbers where they're at, which is covering our costs and expenses, and maybe, don't say it out loud, but maybe a little more.
Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, I need a motion is in order to adopt the resolution number 2025-01 as presented. Oh. Want to be that way about it? Okay. We almost slipped one in. A motion is in order to approve the 2025 summer tax collection agreement with the Fenton area schools as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Tucker?
Yes.
Lorraine is absent, Gopel is absent, Kessler is absent. Reed?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Krug?
I vote yes on both of them.
Motion carried.
Okay, next is a motion is in order to approve the 2025 summer tax collection agreement with Linden Community Schools as presented.
So moved. Hit it, Bill.
Second?
Roll call, Tom.
Lorraine is absent, Clark? Clark?
Yes.
Kessler is absent, Gopel is absent, Tucker?
Yes.
Krug?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I was distracting him, Tom.
It's okay.
A motion is in order to approve the 2025 summer tax collection agreement with the Genesee Intermediate School District as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Kessler is absent, Gopel is absent. Krug?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Lorraine is absent, Clark?
Yes.
Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next is to schedule a public hearing regarding 2025 local road improvements. A motion is in order to schedule a public hearing for January 21st, 2025 to obtain citizen input regarding potential local road improvement projects for 2025.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Lorraine is absent, Reed?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Krug?
Yes.
Kessler is absent, Gopel is absent, Tucker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next is Resolution 2025-02, Stormwater 342 representation. Mr. Broker, can you give us some
Yes,
input, please?
So the Genesee County Drain Commissioner is the designated Act 342 agency in the county for the Genesee County Stormwater Management System. I know it's a mouthful. The Drain Commissioner's Office has requested the township update its representatives for contracts executed under Act 342. We hadn't done that in a while apparently, so included as a resolution, to designate Supervisor Lorraine as our primary representative and our engineer Melissa Lawrence as the alternate.
Any comments or questions?
Seems
Would you
appropriate.
read the resolution, please?
Sure. I'll just read the resolving clause.
Yep.
Now therefore be resolved, the following individuals are designated as representatives for Charter Township of Fenton for contracts executed under Act 342. Vince Lorraine, primary, and Melissa Lawrence, alternate.
I'll move the resolution.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Krug?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Kessler is absent. Reed?
Yes.
Gopel is absent. Tucker?
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Motion carries. Resolution's adopted.
Thank you.
Is there anything else we can stick him with while he's not here?
Hey, I never thought of that.
I know. That's new for
Hey.
you.
You got appointed to anything that needed somebody appointed to. Teach him to take off. Next is board comments. Are there any comments from the board?
I was gonna tell you, we were ruining your average for meeting length, but then I realized I was a contributing factor to that, so I decided to keep my mouth shut. Yeah, primary contributing factor. Thanks for pointing that out, Christine.
Well, it's
I'm-
good that we got to hear the people. Okay.
I'd like to say this, that a lot of people that stepped up in reference to Gray Road, you have a lot of valid points, and I want to commend you for stepping up and speaking your mind. You know, so hopefully we'll be able to come to some type of resolution for you, and everyone will be happy.
Everything has a price on it. Doesn't sound like, it doesn't look like Miller Industries hurting for money. So tell them shake that money tree.
Well, maybe they'll make more and then they'll buy your property. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, if
Thank
not, we could always get a pig farm and make it a pig farm on our land. You got 9 acres. How many pigs are you allowed per acre?
Yeah, that's-
They smell real nice.
Julia, how many pigs can we have on an acre?
What is the law for that?
Mike can answer it better than me, but I don't think there is a animal to ratio acre. It's whatever the land can supply, because you have to look at the food supply that the land can provide to determine how many animals you have.
9 acres, they could look at our pig.
You get a lot of piggy wigglies there. Okay.
Christmas hams in a few years.
Just kind of add this, I don't think anybody here is like saying, hey, we understand the long-term development plan for Red Township. It's been on the table for a long time. You can't push away the fact that they push it, right? Well, we'd like to see maybe a little more interaction, because it almost felt like it snuck up on everybody.
Oh,
Even though the property's been there for a long time. I know it's our job as citizens to keep up with the Township Planning Commission, but, we're just here to see what we can do.
You didn't do anything wrong. It has come about quickly. But, you know, most applications are that way, you know, people are working in the background. But this did,
Country life,
yeah.
peaceful, quiet.
Well, you
clear.
say that, but there was big talk about it back, 18, 20 years.
You know what they say about talk, right? Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Let's keep this simple.
I don't know, I guess they have 300 employees, but I drive by there so many times and there's no cars in the parking lot for such a long time. And I know they go by the job, and I know quite a bit about that place. And where it came from, Warren Buffett owned it or didn't own it or sold it to him, I mean, there's.
That's the other one. That's the one before this one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one up in Grand Blanc you're thinking of. Up in Grand Blanc Township, they were there. Yeah.
I know originally when his wife and my wife were on jury duty together, and he bought that property, he said, I'd like to put in a, for the state of Michigan, Secretary of State. And then nothing happened for a long time, and so I don't know. I know we need some action out here with something, but it's pretty, I drive by these motels and I've rented a couple of them up here because, my girlfriend comes over from the other side of the state. And, you can get a room anywhere up there on Hill Road. I mean, Holiday Inn just went out of business.
There's 2 exits that way with hotels, 2 exits
And
that way
I
with
know.
hotels. Do we need a hotel on Ray Road?
I just don't know.
I think we're kind of losing the plot. So the thing is, in the past, there's been like developers, and they approached that all of Gray Road as a block.
Yeah.
And there were offers actually made 2 previous times. This time it seems like there's like, you might be able to come to an agreement, there's maybe, except Miller Industries willing to talk to, not just.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Matt Miller, and I'm one of the principal owners of Miller Industries. And So I have lived in this community all my life, and my parents, who are now 75 years old, have lived in this community all their lives. And, you know, one thing I can say is we live here and we work here because we love the community. And while I can sympathize with the farm, why I can sympathize with Ray Road, which is why we decided to make that an emergency entrance with no signage. No. So that's one of the reasons why we did that. But I can tell you, in terms of making the investment into the community, and I know when people drive by, they say, oh, they must be making a lot of money. They must have a lot of money. Well, let me tell you about the enormous investment that we've had to make into making Miller Industries. We came from Howell, Michigan, where we had 22 employees and 12,000 square feet. And from 2014 to 2016, from 2015, we moved into a rental building on Thompson Road. We moved to 50 employees. Then we built Miller Industries on Thompson Road, which is in 2016, and we had roughly 100 employees. Now we're 300 employees. Adding the new, it's not warehouse, it's actually assembly. We're gonna add another 250 jobs. That's 550 new workers in our community, all paying taxes. So it's an enormous investment. We've made a $50 million investment into Fenton. And I'm super proud of that. And you know, I'm super proud of that. And so I like to think that we're doing something good for the community instead of taking something away. I think there possibly could be some, like you said, work it out for all. Well, let's just come up with something that works. That's all we want. So I just wanted to give you guys my perspective. That you think that we're making all this money, but we've made a huge investment. And it's been a lot of work. But we love the community.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board?
Julia's got something.
Julia?
I was just gonna have John, because we're reading into what the planning commission does versus what the zoning does. Can you give your little spiel on the zoning and then the things that fine tune
Yeah.
that come into the planning commission?
Sure. So what we're doing today is the first board level action with respect to a rezoning request. Okay, and the things that are relevant to rezoning is whether or not it's consistent with the township's master plan. Because we try and think about this stuff before, instead of just waiting for people to come to us. We say, we'd like these things here, we'd like those things there. You can't say, we don't like these things at all, with limited exceptions. There's some marijuana things that you can just flat out say no to, but you can't just say, I don't like adult entertainment because of religious reasons or whatever. You get sued, you lose. It's called exclusionary zoning. So what we're doing in a rezoning thing is kind of a 50,000 foot view of things. The master plan is the 50,000 foot view, and then it zooms down to each of these parcels. And what I've beaten these folks to death with is every time we get one of these rezoning requests is to look to the master plan for guidance. What does it say? Is this request consistent with it, okay? And I think by and large, the Planning Commission and the board knows that and does that. So it doesn't become a political issue, it's something we've thought about beforehand. Now, a lot of the questions and issues that you raised, I don't want to miss his name, I think it's Jason. It's Jason. Jason, in your list. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about are what we call site plan issues, okay? And we don't usually deal with them at this point because it isn't a given that the rezoning happens. We're not going to know that till we vote, and so we don't get into that. But I will tell you this, our zoning ordinance is already cognizant of most of the things that you have talked about. For instance, there are buffering requirements between property of this type and residential properties. It's right in the ordinance. It's exactly the kind of stuff that you were talking about. You're using logic. We actually built logic into our zoning ordinance. God, who knew, right? Who knew? But there's berms, there's landscaping, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Lighting, you're not allowed to have lighting beyond 0 candles at the property line. So, you know, yes, do we look at lighting? Absolutely. You guys haven't seen it because you have your back turned to it, well, maybe it's behind me. But we always have Alan Lawrence and Melissa Lawrence, our township engineers, on these calls to see what's going on. And when these site plans come through to the planning commission, there's 7 of us, and I do sit on the planning commission as well. It's already gone through Lawrence Engineering, who has looked at it for compliance with the statutes, and they'll tell us. Either it's good to go, or we think this, we think that. And we don't just listen to what they say. Mike Deem spends a lot of time. If you get his reports, we didn't used to have these, and since Mike has been here, he puts together a very nice package, and you can get these before the meetings. They'll be up on the website. You can see, he kind of analyzes all the relevant statutes and all that kind of stuff. But what Julia wanted me to, the concept she wanted me to convey to you is a lot of the things that you are concerned about and talking about are dealt with in the ordinance, but it's the zoning ordinance that we would deal with at site plan. So once we would certainly encourage you to come if it ever gets to a site plan kind of level meeting, and that would be in front of the planning commission. But I will tell you that most all of the things that you have raised are already dealt with in the ordinance. I mean, there's outcomes for it. There's things that have to be done. So I can't tell you don't worry, because I understand what you're saying. I read you loud and clear. Your heart's strong. It made its way up here. So please continue to participate, but just know that a lot of that stuff, we're cognizant of that, and it's not going to slide under the radar coming through. And we love Miller Industries. We're going to work with them. They've been a good community member. Tom called me before this came up. That's why I was able to tell you I knew this happened fairly quickly, because he called me not all that long ago, and he says, I got a problem, and I'm going to be in a hurry. And I said, well, we'll see what we can do. So this is what we're doing. We're kind of moving forward, and then 17th is when we meet next.
Yes.
21st.
21st.
Yeah, 21st. We'll see how the voting goes on that, and if it is in fact approved at that meeting, then there's still stuff to do beyond that. There's a lot of there's a preliminary site plan, final site plan. There's a lot of county level permits and things that would have to be done. But a lot of the things that you were concerned about are addressed in the ordinance and will have to be dealt with at site plan if we get to that point.
Now, say it's all approved, would there ever be any type of offer for, say, like, my aunt and uncles and my parents and my place being listed as commercial?
Yeah. There's nothing.
Commercial properties
Yeah,
for investors?
there's nothing at the township level, okay? If this application that we're talking about tonight isn't anything that the township put together and said, this is what we want to do and go forward. It's based on capitalism. It's the markets. And, I will tell you that the pieces that you own along Ray Road, if in fact this does develop into a, a fairly large development, I think your values are going to go up, not for residential, but because people are going to want to expand that area and make it into a bigger industrial park. Now, at the risk of boring you, I was down in this building before, down in this basement before it was renovated, and we did the Thompson Road corridor study. And we sat at big round tables, and we all sat down and we said what we'd like to see along Thompson Road, and and we did. I don't know who was talking. Was it Dave? Yeah. Dave was talking about it. He probably was down here too. And we wanted, we had movie theaters, we had restaurants.
Yep.
We wanted all this, really cool stuff, right? Nobody told us that Dad, Tom Miller, already had this piece locked up and it had a PUD on it for, a big industrial building. Had I known that, you would kind of say, well, we got to take reality into account. And sitting here tonight, we still have to take reality into account, because we got a bowling alley, we got Miller Industries, we got a glass company. If you go right onto the freeway, we can wish all we want that that's restaurants and movie theaters. It's going to be what those circumstances dictate. So nothing that I can say, that the township could control offers, but I'm also a real estate lawyer. I've been doing it for 40 odd years. So you see how development patterns go. So if this goes, you guys are next on the hit parade, okay?
I guess what we're kind of, my brother's really worried about is, my dad and aunt and uncle have a lot to offer because they own 10 acres.
Yeah.
And they basically both those houses, right? My brother has an acre, so
Yeah.
they value it by acre. They're probably less valuable than his house.
Yeah, you haven't read those stories about the 1 acre in the middle of the development, okay? Okay. I could take you into New York City and I can show you some fun stuff. And I can show you a spot where the guy negotiated a little too hard because they built right over the top of it.
Well, I don't
but, you
think
know.
he doesn't want to negotiate
Yeah.
hard, that's the thing.
No, I think he's in a strategic location. I'm not gonna guess what market would bring for his piece. You know, obviously more area is important, but if you don't have the whole block tied up, it doesn't happen. And I think that's what's been holding this back. There's been a lot of pieces out here, but it's just now the ability to tie up 3 parcels and put them together in a package, because you heard the real estate guy, he said, we've been trying to do this since 2015 or whatever date he said. You know, he's been working on it for a while.
His 1 acre used to be part of the
Yeah.
acreage that Hoover owns now.
Right.
Split it off from my grandma when she was
Right.
married, so.
Right. Well,
That's kind of funny.
yeah, I wouldn't assume that has nominal value just as an acre. I wouldn't assume that.
I got one more question. On the corner of Torrey and, Thompson, the northeast corner,
Yeah?
and that house that used to be there, let me see, I forget who all owned it, but all that property there, I talked to he was an orthodontist or something from, Petoskey,
Chiropractor he was.
Yeah.
chiropractor.
He's a chiropractor.
Well, he was sitting there at his, table crying because he got turned down to put a old folks home, you know, something right
Yep.
there.
Yeah, but he didn't
Were
get,
you guys on the board?
he didn't get turned down.
No.
He
I was gonna
he
say,
got
What
approved.
happened?
Well, I think the 2008 market crash happened,
Yeah, 'cause he was approved.
and
He was? To
yeah.
do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
he had a PUD there, and he was gonna bring us to Trader Joe's, and he was gonna,
Yep.
and again,
I
that's,
know he had big plans.
he had big plans, okay, but, you know, like I said earlier, talk's
Well,
talk,
see-
right?
See, I know 2008 was bad, that's when they withdrew
Yeah.
that offer to us.
Right.
He-
Well, he's the guy, they sold the land because they were trying to generate some cash. This has been sitting, that corner's been sitting there for a
Yeah.
long time. They sold the land for that storage facility that's there.
Yeah, we got
Just to-
storage units,
just-
didn't we, Mike?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, so, I think does he still own the corner, Mike? No? Troy's got it? Yeah.
He had
Okay.
big plans, you're
Well,
so
see,
right.
when you don't give all the facts, you don't have,
Yeah, yeah.
the whole story.
Well, that corner is probably the prime corner on Thompson Road, so I think you're gonna see something good there. It's just a matter of time. Yeah, yeah. If I can do anything about that, Jason, rest assured. I'd like to say over my dead body, but I don't wanna invite
Anybody shoot you? Okay, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to address the board tonight? Either Brandy or Melissa Lawrence?
You have to unmute, Brandy, if you wanna talk to us. I guess she's just
Well,
listening.
based on that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:46 PM. Thanks for coming and thanks for your input.
Thanks for listening.
Rec-